What if I told you that avoiding the sun is killing more people than the sun itself? Every year, excessive sun exposure causes about 1.6 million lost years of healthy life globally. Sounds terrifying, right? But here's what nobody tells you. Vitamin D deficiency, caused by not getting enough sunlight, accounts for 3.3 billion lost years of healthy life. That's over 2,000 times worse. 1 billion people on this planet are walking around right now with dangerously low vitamin D levels. And there's a very good chance you're one of them. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly how sunlight transforms your body, the precise times you should be getting it, what happens when you don't, and the critical mistakes that could turn the sun from your greatest ally into your worst enemy. Stay until the end, because there's one body part that benefits from sunlight more than any other, and it's probably not what you think. Here's something that will blow your mind. Vitamin D has been produced on this earth for over 500 million years. Long before humans existed, organisms were using sunlight to create this life-sustaining molecule. We literally evolved under the sun. Our bodies were designed for it. But in the last 100 years, something changed. We moved indoors. Americans now spend 90% of their time inside buildings, cars, and artificial environments. We've created our own vitamin D winter. Not because of the season, but because of how we live. The consequences are staggering. About 50% of the world's population has vitamin D deficiency. In some populations, nursing home residents, hospitalized patients, the elderly, it climbs to 60% or higher. Among African American infants in the United States, 47% are deficient. In countries like Iran, Turkey, and India, over 90% of infants don't have enough vitamin D. And here's what researchers discovered that changed everything. People who avoid the sun have the same mortality risk as smokers. Let me repeat that. Avoiding sunlight is as dangerous as smoking cigarettes. The researchers at the universities of Southampton and Edinburgh put it bluntly. Avoiding excess sunlight exposure is critical to prevent skin cancer, but not being exposed to it at all could increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. So what exactly is happening when sunlight hits your skin? When ultraviolet B rays from the sun touch your skin, something remarkable happens. There's a molecule sitting in your skin called 7-dehydrocholesterol. It's basically a form of cholesterol. When UVB radiation hits it, a chemical transformation begins. That molecule converts into something called pre-vitamin D3, which then transforms into vitamin D3. Here's what's incredible. In just 30 minutes of summer sun exposure while wearing a swimsuit, a light-skinned person can produce up to 50,000 IU of vitamin D. That's 25 to 50 times more than most supplements provide in a single dose. But vitamin D is just the beginning. When morning sunlight enters your eyes, it hits special cells in your retina that send signals directly to your brain. This triggers the release of serotonin, the happiness hormone that regulates mood, focus, and calmness. This is why you feel more energized and positive on sunny days. It's not imagination, it's biochemistry. At the same time, sunlight suppresses melatonin production, telling your brain it's time to be alert. This sets your circadian rhythm, your body's 24-hour internal clock that controls when you sleep, when you wake, and when hundreds of biological processes occur. But there's another mechanism that scientists only recently discovered. When UVA rays hit your skin, they release a molecule called nitric oxide from stores in your skin cells. Nitric oxide is one of the most powerful vasodilators known. It relaxes and widens your blood vessels. Research shows this can lower your blood pressure within minutes of sun exposure. This effect is completely independent of vitamin D. It's why vitamin D supplements alone don't provide all the benefits of actual sunlight. At least 1,000 different genes in your body are regulated by vitamin D. It affects virtually every tissue: your bones, your muscles, your immune system, even your brain cells. Now here's where it gets practical. Because timing is everything. Morning sunlight, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is your circadian rhythm window. Get outside within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. You need 5 to 20 minutes of sunlight exposure during this time. Even on cloudy days, there's enough light to trigger the effects. Morning light doesn't give you much vitamin D because the UVB rays are weak when the sun is low. But it does something arguably more important. It sets your internal clock. Research shows morning light exposure leads to better sleep quality, faster sleep onset, and improved mood throughout the day. Here's a simple trick. If your shadow is longer than your height, the sun isn't high enough for vitamin D production, but it's perfect for circadian benefits. Midday sunlight, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is your vitamin D window. When the sun is at its highest point, UVB rays are most intense. Your body produces vitamin D most efficiently during this time. For light-skinned individuals, just 10 to 15 minutes 3 times per week is often enough to maintain healthy vitamin D levels. For darker-skinned individuals, and this is crucial, you may need 20 to 30 minutes or more because melanin, while protecting against UV damage, also reduces vitamin D production by up to 90%. The UV index must be above 3 to produce vitamin D. Check your weather app. If it's below 3, you're getting circadian benefits but not vitamin D synthesis. Evening sunlight. Before sunset. Watching the sunset for 10 to 20 minutes helps complete your circadian cycle. It signals to your brain that nighttime is approaching, allowing melatonin to rise naturally and preparing your body for sleep. Now let's talk about the dark side, because the sun that heals can also harm. And understanding this balance is the difference between health and disaster. Skin cancer risk UVB rays can directly damage your DNA, creating mutations in your skin cells. UVA rays penetrate deeper, generating harmful molecules that cause indirect DNA damage. Both contribute to skin cancer, basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and the deadliest form, melanoma. Over 80% of skin cancers are caused by UV overexposure. One severe blistering sunburn before age 18 significantly increases melanoma risk later in life. Premature aging. Both UVA and UVB rays destroy collagen fibers and vitamin A in your skin. The result? Wrinkles, loss of elasticity, and age spots years before they should appear. Dermatologists call it photoaging. The leathery skin you see on people who've spent decades in the sun without protection. That's accumulated UV damage. Eye damage. UV exposure increases your risk of cataracts and can damage the delicate skin around your eyes. This is why quality sunglasses that block both UVA and UVB rays aren't optional. They're essential. The sunburn trap. Sunburn is your body screaming that damage has occurred. Redness, pain, swelling. These are inflammatory responses to DNA damage in your skin cells. Never let yourself burn. There is no healthy tan that comes from burning first. The key insight? Moderate, consistent exposure is protective. Intermittent, intense exposure is dangerous. The same total amount of sun spread evenly across weeks does far less damage than concentrated in a few intense sessions. Here's where most people go wrong. Medications that increase sun sensitivity. If you're taking any of these, your skin can burn in a fraction of the normal time. Antibiotics, especially tetracyclines, doxycycline, and fluoroquinolones. Diuretics used for blood pressure. Some antidepressants. Certain antihistamines. NSAIDs like ibuprofen and naproxen. Retinoids and Accutane for acne. Even some diabetes medications. If you're on any prescription medication, ask your pharmacist about photosensitivity. This is not optional. People have received severe burns after just minutes of sun exposure while on these drugs. Foods that increase sensitivity. This will surprise you. Certain foods contain compounds called furocoumarins that make your skin react more intensely to UV light. These include celery, dill, fennel, figs, parsley, limes, and grapefruit. If lime juice gets on your skin and then you go in the sun, you can develop painful blisters called margarita burns. Products to avoid: perfumes containing rose or musk. Essential oils, especially citrus oils, lavender, rosemary, and sandalwood. Skincare products with retinol, alpha hydroxy acids, or benzoyl peroxide. These strip protective layers from your skin or create compounds that react with UV light. If you use these products, apply them at night, not before sun exposure. The window glass illusion. Here's something crucial. UVB rays cannot penetrate glass. If you're sitting by a sunny window thinking you're getting vitamin D, you're not. You're only getting UVA, the aging rays, without the vitamin D benefits. To produce vitamin D, you must be outside or in direct sunlight through an open window. Sunscreen timing. If you need vitamin D, don't apply sunscreen immediately. Get your 10 to 15 minutes of unprotected exposure first, then apply broad-spectrum SPF 30 or higher for extended time outdoors. Sunscreen with SPF 30 blocks about 97% of UVB rays, effectively shutting down vitamin D production. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Which body part benefits most from sunlight? You might think it's your skin. After all, that's where vitamin D is made. You might think it's your bones. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption and bone strength, but the answer is your brain. Here's why. Sunlight affects your brain through multiple pathways simultaneously. Light entering your eyes activates the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your master biological clock. This tiny region controls hundreds of other clocks throughout your body, regulating everything from hormone release to cell repair. Sunlight triggers serotonin production, directly affecting mood, anxiety, and cognitive function. Research shows people with adequate sunlight exposure have lower rates of depression, better memory, improved focus, and even reduced risk of dementia. In 2018, researchers at the National Institute of Mental Health discovered that light reaches mood-regulating areas of the brain through special cells called iPRGCs, affecting regions involved in emotion, reward, and decision-making. Vitamin D itself crosses the blood-brain barrier and influences over 900 genes in brain tissue. Low vitamin D is associated with higher rates of multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and cognitive decline. People hospitalized for bipolar depression who stayed in rooms with morning sunlight had significantly shorter hospital stays than those in rooms without it. The connection between sunlight and mental health is so strong that researchers now say sun avoidance carries mortality risks equivalent to smoking, largely because of its effects on the brain and cardiovascular system. Your brain evolved under the sun. It needs the sun. And when it doesn't get enough, everything suffers. So here's the truth about sunlight. It's not your enemy. It's not purely your friend either. It's a powerful force that shaped human evolution for hundreds of thousands of years. And like all powerful things, it demands respect. Get morning light within an hour of waking. Get midday sun for vitamin D, but watch the clock and your skin. Protect your eyes. Never burn. Be aware of medications and products that increase sensitivity. And remember, the goal isn't to worship the sun or fear it. The goal is balance. Because when you get it right, sunlight does something no supplement, no medication, and no technology can replicate. It synchronizes your body, energizes your mind, and connects you to the natural rhythms that kept our ancestors healthy for millennia. The sun has been rising for 4.6 billion years. It'll rise again tomorrow. The only question is, will you be there to receive it?